Student housing shortage, is it really a crisis? Is that market sector ending for us as investors? In a Telegraph this week, it was reported there's a panic in the student housing sector. Headlines are calling it a crisis as landlords are selling up, and a shortfall of more than 600,000 student beds is predicted by 2029. Here's the truth though, for smart investors, it's a great buying opportunity. Student housing has always been a good fallback, and now more than ever. The key points: demand has never been stronger, universities are overwhelmed. Even though international students have dipped slightly, the number of student housing is still outpacing supply elsewhere. 2 million students and only about 700,000 dedicated beds across the UK. 3 to 1 they can fill. The gap is driving rental growth quickly. You see all sorts of pictures, students queuing for 12 hours with 200 people trying to get into an apartment or a house. There's a lot of shortages. And I know the student housing gets a bad rep. They ruin the house and all this sort of stuff, but not if it's looked after properly. And bearing in mind, it's only occupied for 9 months of the year, so you've still got 3 months to make sure it's good at the end of it. Supply can't keep up. Only 1,600 new student beds were added in 2025 so far, when over 17,000 are required. Developers can't build fast enough. Landlords are exiting the smaller ones, people like myself. The result is less competition and higher rents for those remain. Rising costs, rising rents. Construction and financing costs have increased, so have rents. PBSA rents, public purpose-built student accommodation, rents went up by 8.1% last year, and HMOs rose by 5.3%. So that's pretty good increases, and they're still climbing. It's steady and reliable. Key areas are Nottingham, Leeds and London. And if you look at the areas that we as a company are doing developments, and that is part of it, those are the Midlands places with strong pie, population growth, infrastructure growth and employment growth. If you're not using it for a student, you can use it for a professional. So one beds and studio flats are also a concept as opposed to purely HMOs. Labour factor: the upcoming renters reform bill has unsettled some landlords. However, if student lets receive an exemption, which is likely, then it'll be dynamite. Large institutional investors will take over the market if they don't get the exemption, which means that it'd be even more profit for those people. So get in now if you can. Where is the smart money going? Big funds and developers already eyeing the market again. JLL and CBRE estimate the UK student housing sector is worth 70 billion, and it continues to grow. Those who remain in the market today are likely to experience record occupancy rates and strong rental increases for the upcoming years. Now bearing in mind, it's not just HMOs, it's buying one beds that can be used as that in locations where there are a lot of students. Places like Nottingham, Manchester, you've got a 36% of all properties in Manchester are rented. A large amount of those are to students at the big universities there. So it doesn't have to necessarily be a big house. It can be studios or one beds. And that will also benefit from the work from home situation, because a lot of people still want to keep their houses in the country and work in the provincial cities 2 or 3 nights a week. And that's a very positive thing. Closing take: headlines are worrying for sure. Massive shortage, but only if you look at things at face value, which is often the case with news today. Look underneath it all. What we're really seeing is a rebalancing. The short-term pain of landlords leaving means long-term gain for those who stay the course. So stick with it. Students need somewhere to live. I know there's talk in the press of Tony Blair trying to get 50% of all youngsters into uni, but they still need to go to good unis and get a good degree if they're going to get somewhere in life. And so it will continue. The wheels aren't coming off, they're just being realigned. A new set of wheels, perhaps 4-wheel drive as opposed to road, to get in there and make the most of it. So HMOs, student accommodation, studio let, one beds are the thing that you will well consider to invest your money in. That's it for this week. Thank you very much. Michael Ratnam, 276, Stuart Williamson. Cheerio.